Global Champions League round 2 from Madrid about to get underway in a few moments' time. The sun probably still far away from setting, but seems to be a bit of cloud cover overhead trying to cool some conditions down. And it has been an exceptionally hot afternoon, and the action from round 1 has been equally brilliant. Rupert Bell on commentary this weekend joins us live in studio. We're going to get some thoughts in a moment. For now, let's show you the results of round 1 and bring you up to speed as to what took place in that opening stage of GCL. It was the Shanghai Swans. They were dominant in that opening round. They've been dominant all season long thus far. Already 2 victories this season. The championship leaders do it again in Madrid with one of only 2 double clears alongside Falcons United. Their own Gladiators still very much in the mix with only 2 time penalties. And then, well, those teams in 4, they cannot be discounted. Doha Falcons, Istanbul Warriors, as well as the Basel Cosmopolitans. Another time penalty perhaps keeps the Monaco Comets somewhat in no man's land on 5. But you would imagine that the winner from Madrid should find themselves coming outside of those top 7 teams. After that, from the Saint-Tropez Pirates down, those on 8 might find it a bit of a long shot to get themselves onto the podium after difficulty in the opening round. It's not a guarantee that, of course, one of those teams, especially the double clear, will be the victor, but they certainly do have a pretty good starting point to kick off GCL round 2. Rupert, thank you for your time today. Let's talk about round 1. What stood out for you? Obvious, the double clears, but there was a lot to take out of there, wasn't there?
The treble.
Yeah.
Fence 8 seemed to just catch many out. But what it was interesting is that the cream rose to the top because you needed to be experienced. Because the course had said it looked fairly straightforward early on, but then in the second half, that's when the sort of drama seemed to unfold. From 8, 9 was then catching them out as well. But when you look at the double clears, the quality of the double clears, you then look, and it was great to see a couple of young riders put in great performances. But it wasn't just the wise heads that were showing how it should be done. So that's why I think it's set up for an intriguing second round, but it was fascinating the way, you know, the Shanghai Swans are on a roll. Falcons United, that was good. You know, Marcus Enning was a masterclass, and Gilles Thomas, I don't know what he's on. Yeah. I've just had an enormous donut, but he's got something else going.
He's been doing it for the last 12 to 18 months. Let me tell you,
there was 2 great rounds. In fact, the top 2 teams, 4 perfect exhibitions of how to jump what was a trappy course, because it offered you no let-up if you lost your concentration for a moment.
What makes the second round exciting, as you pointed out, with their own Gladiators on the time penalty, very much in the mix, a handful of teams on 4. All of a sudden, when you have 6, 7 or 8 teams that can win this, that makes round 2 incredibly open, doesn't it?
Yeah, remember, we get harked back to Shanghai. We had 3 double clears, but they didn't win.
Yeah.
So,
and isn't that just a wonderful reminder as to how this can go quite south if you are switching off?
Therefore, the teams, though, with Shanghai Swan, okay, they've got the same riders, different horses, and then with Falcons United, they're changing a little horsepower. Hans-Dieter Dreyer comes in for Marcus Enning, so that will be interesting. But again, they look good. The team, I'm so pleased to see Roy van Berk, big 2 timefuls, but he's been given a vote of confidence. He's going again on the same horse, which is a great testament to what the GCL is all about. You know, bringing on young riders and giving them the chance to shine on an international stage. But the 4 falters that you're alluding to, the one team that I think that might suddenly find, if they go clear, and they've got to, they can put the pressure on the following teams, are Istanbul Warriors.
A lot of eyes on Istanbul this weekend. A lot of people seem very excited by them.
I tell you, with Henrik von Eckermann and Abdul Said, Ileana for Henrik von Eckermann, Bonami, an LGCT winner as well this season for Abdul Said. If they go double clear, then the pressure will be on the other teams following. So don't discount Istanbul Warriors. I think they'll just turn up the heat on the double clears, and you never know, we might see what happened in Shanghai a couple of weeks back with the 4 falter coming on to win.
And right after them, just by the way, we have Doha Falcons, who with Julien Acatin and Jérôme Guéry, 2 exceptional riders, as well a team on 4. So if they do jump double clear, keep it on 4, and that pressure on the Shanghai Swans, that pressure on Falcons United will start to climb exceptionally. We call it scoreboard pressure. That scoreboard pressure will start to rise exceptionally the later and later that we go. Course walk is officially underway. We're going to get some reaction from the riders in a few moments' time. Rupert, thank you. We'll let you to get back into your commentary booth. He'll be taking you through later on today. Let's show you the start list and give you an idea as to how teams will shape up in that second round of Global Champions League from the reverse order of GCL round 1. The Paris Panthers will be the first team to go. Madrid in motion, well, that was disappointing for them, I'm afraid. They will find themselves with a very, very early start. Somewhat of a surprise afternoon for Michael van der Vleuten in particular and for Eduardo Alvarez Aznar, both of them having a very high penalty count. New York Empire, Scandinavian Vikings and Riesenbach International. That is a surprise in 5th, powered by Horst Germ Riesenbach International, a 4 for Marco Kutscher, an 8 for Christian Kuckuck. They will be very early to go and will be hoping for a double clear to try and get as many championship points out of Madrid as possible. But even if that were the case, they find themselves on 12 penalties, which should see them finish mid-table at best. But as we pointed out, those teams from the Monaco Comets, Basel Cosmopolitans, going down to the Istanbul Warriors and those 2 teams on double clear, that is where you begin to imagine that we are starting to see where our winner is going to be. Rosie Turner standing by for us to get some thoughts, some reaction as well. Rosie Turner, Global Champions League round 2 live from Madrid. This is proving to be a very exciting afternoon.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Alongside me now, Ludger Beerbaum. And it was a very unlucky first round for Riesenbach International. What's your take on it?
Yes, I agree, but you know, this happens, and it's actually not the first time for us. We didn't get the best start until now in the season, but that's how it is. We still believe in the riders and horses combination. That's why we don't change anything. And I'm quite sure they can do much better than in the first round.
You are the only team that's not changed anything, but we see this quite a lot from the team, that you don't make any changes. What's the tactic behind that?
There's not really a tactic behind. You know, we have 1 or 2 other options, other horses. But I think also for then a fresh horse to come and do this as the first round, a 160 track, I don't really think this is such a big advantage. I think it's actually quite nice when the horses are a little bit in the rhythm and up and running on this level. And both horses, even though they had falls in the first round, didn't look like they were struggling. Or I think they both jumped the second half of the course much better than the first. So that's why I think they're just ready for this round.
Lastly, I was watching you watch Mila and Nadia go round in such an incredible combination. What's it like for you to watch that?
It's actually a really joy, I have to say. I couldn't be more happy, because you never really know, even though, I mean, it was always a special horse to me and she did great things. But then you don't know how the match will really end up with a new rider. It's always a bit of a gamble. And in this case now, Nadia and Mila, they seem to just match perfectly, and it's definitely a really joy for me to watch it.
You said to me earlier that if you're having a really grumpy day, then you just want to go and watch Mila and Nadia and everything's happier again.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and it's not only one time now, 1 or 2 shows. From day one, the mare enjoys the way she rides her, and this is really nice to watch.
Have you been part of that training at all?
Not really. I mean, I brought the horse to where she was, and then I was actually giving her a little bit of hand in the beginning in Doha, where they started on a smaller level, and told her a little bit the attitude she has behind, you know, in the warm-up and in the stable and basic stuff. But already then, actually the first round, you could see, even though she never tried her, she just got on it and felt good. And the way she rides also, with no, you know, hard aids or soft ride, let her travel a little bit to the fences. It's just what she loves, and that's great.
Well, listen, it's wonderful to see. Good luck to Riesenbach International for round 2. We will let you go, Ludger. Thank you for chatting to us. It's so wonderful to hear from Ludger. I was watching him watch Nadia and Mila go round in the first round, and proud is definitely the word I would use. As he said, she's a very sympathetic rider, and it suits the combination perfectly, Mark.
For many reasons, many people thoroughly enjoying watching Mila perform, and Ludger Beerbaum, who so cautiously and so brilliantly in the early stages of Mila's career was able to guide her into the point that she now finds herself, and as he admits, still finds some enjoyment in going on to watch her jump still in the Global Champions League. Ludger Beerbaum having some comments with Rosie Turner and talking about that, not necessarily a tactic, as he says, but the idea behind Riesenbach International to keep the same team, to keep the same horses, and try and keep that momentum going into that second round. It's always been part of the DNA of Riesebeck International, even dating back to the Berlin Eagle days. It was very much built into their DNA that you were not very often going to see changes taking place from the first round into the second round. Let's pop back to Rosie. I want to get some thoughts on her with regards to the changes in round two. Rosie, we spoke a lot about the opening round. We spoke about a very exciting, young, refreshing lineup in round one. I imagine with a bigger, more challenging course in round two that there have been changes. Talk to me about some of those that have really stood out for you. We've heard from Ludger, no changes there. Let's talk about some of the other teams. What stands out? Who's done what?
Yeah, absolutely, Mark. As you said just now, that actually the first round definitely seemed like the newbies coming in, whereas now we have the veterans coming in for round two. It's a bigger course and it's going to be definitely more intense. One team I do really want to talk about is Istanbul Warriors. Definitely a team that I've pinpointed for this weekend, actually, because they had a brilliant first round with two new horses, and yet they can still bring it out the bag with the second round with their two best horses, Iliana coming in for Henrik von Eckermann and Bon Ami coming in for Abdul Saeed. You've got to say something about that combination. They are definitely not out of this competition yet, but a lot of these big horses coming through. Just to name a few more as well, as I look down the running order. H&M Miro for Olivier Philipparts. They had a really disappointing first round, actually. Stockholm Hearts definitely need to bring something back for that. But Madrid in Motion, another team that had a bit of a disappointing first round, but they bring in O'Bailey and also crowd favourite Rockefeller. Be sure to hear that roar when Rockefeller comes into the arena with Eduardo Asner. So there are some really big combinations coming into round two, and I think that's what's been really exciting about today. We've been lucky enough to see some of the newer horses who have been fabulous, and now we get to see the veterans, Mark.
Well, it's going to be very exciting for that second round. Rosie Turner, thank you very much. Some interesting changes that have taken place, some new horsepower coming in, a few rider changes we've seen in Falcons-White United in particular. Hans-Dieter Dreyer in there too. Rosie, go grab us some riders. We'll come back to you in a few moments' time. Plenty of them around. The riders are officially underway with their course walk, trying to make sure that whatever challenge has been set for the second round, that they are going to try and measure it to perfection to make sure that it is them and their team that can be top of the podium come the end of the afternoon here in what is turning out to be a magnificent day in the Spanish capital. Let's look at the virtual rankings. If things were to end right now, if we were to stop the count and press stop, what would the Global Champions League in Madrid look like? The Shanghai Swans would go on and take maximum points yet again. They would break into the 100s. The first team in triple figures. They would be at 101 and have an over 20-point lead over the Cannes Stars. The defending champions Cannes Stars would then see that lead really start to grow. Falcons-White United would continue to climb. The Prague Lions would then find themselves in fourth place. And New York Empire, they continue to make up some ground. That is what the virtual rankings look like now if it were to stop immediately. Once again, let's get some thoughts and some reaction. We told you that Rosie Turner has the opportunity to speak to some riders, to grab some thoughts, to get some reaction as to what is taking place inside this ring. Rosie, who do you have for us?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I've actually got our course designer, Santiago Varela, alongside me now. Let's just talk about round one, though, because the triple caused so many problems there. As a course designer, what are you hoping for when you see the round go?
No, the round, I believe that it worked very well. It was 10 clear rounds, and two teams are in clean. There are a couple of teams, or there are one team with 2 points, and other 3 or 4 with 4 points. Basically, this arena make a lot of job. It's different, and it's not a flat arena, and obviously always when the fences are in a long way are much more technical and complicated than the people believes. Then this arena for the first day is, I think that works very well, and the horses jump well. The question about the triple combination is this triple combination always make faults when you make this triple isolated, vertical, oxer, vertical, and the verticals are a little bit bigger than the oxer, always change the balance of the horses in the air and make quite different. No, it's difficult to arrive and it's difficult to jump. But it was not so extremely big, but it was big enough, and the proof is that a lot of fault coming in this fence and also in the next plank, and because the next plank changed 2 times the balance, because part of the way onto the plank it was up on the hill, and the other part it was down on the hill, and this changed a lot the balance of the horses.
Let's talk about round 2 then, because obviously you've got to make it bigger, you've got to probably make it more technical as well. It's a much bigger course, it's a bigger competition, I guess. Where do you think the problems are going to be lying here?
I hopefully there will not be problems. I hope that
Poles coming down, I mean.
No, but the poles coming down everywhere. But I think that it's a different course, no? It's a little bit more related distances than before. Means that not necessarily is much more technical or much more complicated. It's different. The technical usage is slightly different. I think that the horses will jump very well. I hope that the horses will jump well. I am not sure that verticals are quite high, but the oxer are normal oxer for 160 classes. I think that it will be fault, hopefully not concentrated. It will be fault everywhere. Obviously, the triple combination is early, and when the triple is early in an early stage, the horses that jump before, at least they are not so tired. Then the new horses also, for them, it will be, I think, easier when the triple is in the first part. It's not casual that the triple on the second round is early than in the first one. No?
There's quite a lot to think about in your job, probably more than we all understand. What do you think is the toughest part, particularly going from round 1 to round 2, for you to be thinking about?
I think that, well, in this case, the last line that are for fences with related distances between the Oxer of Madrid and the plank of Marquès de Riscal, and after the Oxer and the global champions. I think that this is a line that will create some problem, because it's very optional. There are optionalities on that, but also the line between the triple to the other two. There is a question between 8 to 9 that looks like nothing, but is quite different, because the Oxer of Cácer is a little bit up on the hill, and that means that they need to decide where they need to take off, and this could make the difference for the rest of the course.
It's going to be a tough course again. Round 1, we saw some poles coming down. I'm sure there'll be faults, as he says, round 2 as well, and hopefully everywhere on the course, not just in one place, Mark.
Thank you very much to Rosie, and thank you very much to Santiago Varela, the course designer here in Madrid, trying to make sure that there is the perfect balance between challenge, between the riders and the horses, and making sure that even the fans that have come out here get a wonderful show. Fans want to see clears, but of course it is the course designer's job to try and encourage those fences to come down, because that's what you want from the best riders in the world. A magnificent show of what is taking place here in Madrid as we get ready for the second round of GCL action. Make sure you come and join us. GCL round 2 is next.
Possible permutations that Soester could come out on top and win it today. Obviously, Shanghai Swans in pole position after their fabulous first round. Valkenswaard United in second. Then I have to say, Rome Gladiators will be mighty pleased with the way they've gone. Now, but a different track, and obviously a very demanding one. The first course, and speaking to riders in the intervening period, was very technical and meant that you had to be switched on throughout. Santiago Varela has definitely come up with something that is of food for thought. In this second course, 78 seconds is the time allowed, but he, I think, will be mighty pleased with the examination he provided first up today. what is likely to be in store for them. Well, they've got another nasty treble to negotiate on the other side of the arena, but that will be early in the round. But of course we are jumping at 160 now, so there's even less room for errors and precision, and certainly amongst the riders plenty of food for thought as to how they're going to try and negotiate and not only win the class, win the Global Champions League today, but also book their place in the Grand Prix. So much at stake, and will certainly give the riders plenty to think about. Simon Delestre amongst those riding here, and the Mexico Amigos wasn't quite so perfect, but for Catherine Romberg it was a good morning. Good afternoon, I should say, and she will be back in action later on when she will be going into the arena last with Christian Almond, but on different horses this time. So much to play for. We're getting ready for the initial team competition, individual competition. Lots of good combinations coming through, big star names. Emmanuel Camili is already a Grand Prix winner this season. Marcus Enning sitting it out, but riding Prix de Rosset. Kent Farrington on Myler, Simon Delestre again riding here. Cian O'Connor had a good early debut. He's on a different horse here, trying to qualify for Sunday's Grand Prix. And amongst the others, Kevin Stowe, then Zoe Conter. She had a pretty good round in the first round of the Global Champions League. And some of the others, as we can see, Dennis Lynch. Then we can really see how it's beginning to shape up through the entire list as we get into the main bulk of the actual Global Champions League, and through the remaining, and then you can see some of the others. Tom Watchman had a pretty good first round. He's back in action. The young Irishman will be Geraldine Strom. Really good from her. She's riding the same horse as she did earlier. Really impressed with Roy van Beek, the young Dutchman. But just 2 timefuls for Rome Gladiators, so putting them in the mix. And then we end with Gilles Thomas, 4-man at the moment, Christian Almond and Katharina Romberg. That's the shaping up for the order for the class that's coming now, and bearing in mind 25 individual riders coming forward before we get through to the team competition proper. So lots to enjoy, and I know the crowd, very appreciative and knowledgeable crowd here in Madrid, will be where they were applauding people when they were getting through the treble. They're just really understanding what it's required to jump this very difficult, this course, and maybe even this course, which at 160 will be a tester. It will be Emmanuel Camili who will be first into the arena as the sun starts to set and lengthen the shadows here, but it's a very beautiful, balmy evening here in Madrid. Perfect for an evening's show jumping as we get ready for this class, and taking it all in and relaxing as they get ready. And for some, of course, there's some lavish hospitality to be enjoyed here. Well, we're getting ready. Hear the fanfares in the background as we start this second competition. And getting ready for this Global Champions League here in Madrid, round 2, but we're starting with the individual riders, all not only trying to win the prize money here, but obviously get into the big top prize in the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix. That's Sunday, but that's what the first 25 are about. But then later on, it's all about the league and trying to improve your team's position. But again, there is still the matter of a good finish. You don't want to have a blowout, because that means you might not make it to Sunday. Well, the first rider coming in, he's enjoyed success already in the Grand Prix in Mexico, but here he is on Chaco's Girl Star, Emmanuel Camilli, and let's see how this course rides for the Italian as he is sent on his way. Looking at this course, how it's going to play out. 78 seconds is the time allowed. That's a big spread, that third Longines fence. Now they come to this treble down the opposite side of the arena, up against a grandstand there, but actually made light work of it there, did Emmanuel. Six, and then there's a right-hand turn back around that flower pot to 7, which is a tall upright, and then to the double. This is a nice opening run so far. Stays intact. He's now coming back down. This is the final fence at Liverpool, and safely inside the time, so that's a pretty good start. 69.22, and through he will be pleased with that. Sets himself up, obviously will now be safely in on Sunday with that clear arm, but actually made light work of it. No real scares for Emmanuel in that round. Now Julien Epiard coming in on Easy Up the Grande. Competing here as an individual. So far, both these two riders. Oh, should have kept the mouth shut. But oh no, not anymore. Slightly unravelling for Easy Up the Grande and Julien Epiard, and it really has unravelled since that fence coming down. That's by the in-out gate, so just maybe suddenly thinking I was going in the other direction, so keep an eye on that for the remainder, if that does catch one or two out. Another one down, so this is all proved a little bit of an examination for Easy Up the Grande. 24. We won't be happy with that, I don't think. Particularly that refusal coming on that turn. Started to go wrong early on when he flicked that one down, and then the wheels came off.
Starting the season with a top 10 finish in the Grand Prix on the Lords and Global Champions Tour in Doha. Gold medalist at the Olympic level for France, Philippe Rosier and Dirty Sweet.
So next up, Philippe Rosier coming in, part of the Saint-Tropez Pirates team. And he is riding Dirty Sweet here, a 12-year-old grey. And going to... Just keep the horse moving. Gave that one a bit of a thwack, but all good. Looking very good now, coming to the final bit. Here is the final fence, the Global Champions fence, and safely in time to time, and so a second clear round, so appears eminently jumpable for many. Well, the experienced pair of Emmanuel Camili. Julian Appelau's horse just not overly happy, but for Dirty Sweet, that was all good. Did give that fence a gentle brush through, but a nice happy smile and relief all round for Philippe Rosier and his horse, the experienced Frenchman. Now here we go with Marcus Henning, who was so good earlier for the Valkenswaard United team. Now he's on Priam de Rosset. Good horse, 14-year-old. Those calm hands. So far, shortish turn into that one. Oh, maybe that was costly. A little short that turn in, perhaps. Oh, and another one down, so quite what Marcus probably had in mind as he jumps the final fence and picks up 8 faults. 2 clears then out of 4. Emmanuel Camili and Philippe Rosier, the two who have done the business so far in the individual part. Then after these 25 riders, then we get down to the business of trying to work out who's going to be the Global Champions League team champions here in Madrid. But next up, from Spain, is Armando Trapote on Tornado. Have a great run earlier, if my memory serves me correctly, but they will be out to put in a good show here. Exactly free running early on. Just to settle the horse down into this combination. And so far, the combination proving straightforward enough. Went a little wider than Marcus Henning, who had a problem at 8. Now to the double. Good. Sure, we'll get a good cheer should he remain clear from here on in. Oh, and the groans tell you no. Oh, and the second one down, just maybe a buzzy horse that was, and probably just a little keeping him under restraint. It was quite tough in the end, but so it's 8 faults, 73.17 for Armando. So 5 down in the individual phase. Plenty of big names. Groans of frustration from the watching support team for the Spanish rider. We go back to Italy now for another young gun who's competing here. It's Giacomo Casadei, and he's riding Corradini Vantecline Astonx as starts his round.
y así solo tienes que ponerte una parte.
Oh, how did that stay? Right top of the middle part, but good fortune for Giacomo. Much wider turn into that fence. This is 8A and B. Big spread, that fence. That's disappointing. He's ridden his luck a bit, but that will be frustrating. Now comes to the final fence, and let's jump well inside the time, but 4 faults there. So the only rider to complete with 4 faults at the moment. 2 clears, and so not a bad round, just a little bit frustrating having that fence done. This is the moment you thought, how did that pole stay in? I mean, a mighty clatter, but it went up and straight back into the cup, so he was lucky there, but that luck did run out at that fence. But 4 faults it is. Next up we have from Monaco, Inigo Lopez de la Osa Franco, and is riding Naco Blue. Well, we saw Giacomo ride his luck, but unfortunately for Inigo, it's the same pole, but gets a completely different result and lands on the ground, and he's had another one down. So as he turns round to face fence 7, and he rolls that one and kindly stays in. Oh yeah. Well, 12 faults in the end for Inigo, and one to put in the experience bank. And next up, another Spanish rider competing here, and is coming in is Ivan Serrano Saez and Rainman. And he's on his way. Horse has done well at Grand Prix level in his native Spain. Well, starting to prove a little influential, that combination. Well, that fence also is catching them out. Fences. Doesn't look the most straightforward to rides at the moment. Horse bobbing and heaving. Unfortunately, another fence down. You know, over the final fence, but the damage had been done early on for Ivan. And with a score of 12 penalties. So next up, another Spanish rider. You see that Hola fences definitely proving quite difficult, but Jesus Garmendia Echevarria is on his way, riding Callias, his 14-year-old grey. And other horses pretty well in local Grand Prix on his way. Oh, he didn't have a problem there. That was very clever from Callias to pop over that when seemingly right at the foot of the fence. This is another pretty decent track that Santiago Varela's come up with, because it demands plenty of attention. A bit free-wheeling into that. It was a hold your breath moment almost, but the horse was astute and clever and made sure that the fence didn't come down. So hard-working round, but just 4 faults in the end for Jesus Garmendia Echevarria. So, but 4 penalties it is, so he's puffing his cheeks up there where he just got it slightly wrong. The back legs not doing quite what they were meant to do, but as I say, quite a hard working round that was. You can see the look on his face there. Now next up is another of the Spanish riders here. It's Manuel Fernandez Sarro, is part of the Madrid in motion team, who, I have to say earlier today, didn't have the best first round, but what can Manuel do here in terms of maybe giving the Spanish crowd something to celebrate with a clear round? Just an anxious moment there, but all good. Taking a long round route to that fence, number 7. The Global Champions League double. For the final fence. Oh, no. Agony for the home crowd. Liverpool coming down. It looked to have everything going his way, but unfortunately it wasn't to be, as the fence comes crashing down, and the groans tell you the story. They were just set fair to acclaim a clear round from the Spanish rider, but as you can see, the fence comes tumbling down. It didn't rush down, but there you see heartache for Manuel Fernandez Sarro. So close, but jumping's the name of the game. But here we go with the next rider. We're rattling through these. Andreas Schow is next up from Denmark. Let's go from Denmark, when Napoli but Nederassentoff. So Napoli on his way. It's a 12-year-old gelding. That is not a completely straightforward fence coming off that turn between 6 and 7. just misjudged it. Coming back round. And to the final fence. Pops that neatly enough, and a rueful shake of the head there from Andreas, having had that fence down, but a tidy enough round with the 4 faults. Well, that fence number 7, just if you get it slightly wrong, the angle of approach, and that's what happens. Down comes the top pole, and that tongue out, I think, suggests exactly thoughtful of what might just have been, but a pretty tidy effort. Now Federico Fernandez is next in with his grey Romeo, actually in the first competition this afternoon, actually retired, but maybe thinking this is the serious one. So let's see how he gets on here. Actually, I think he retired it was clear when he retired, sort of midway through, because saving for this. So can the Mexican deliver the goods? That's all right. A little free into that, but corrected nicely. Now, what does he make of this? Quite a tight. Now straightens up and makes light work of it. It's the double, and unfortunately doesn't make light work of the first part of that double. Galloping on now. 2 to go. And not a bad round at all, just that one blemish, 4 faults as well, and a decent enough time, 74.41. Actually, the best time so far was the rider who went fast, and we're just looking at what it could be possible for the Global Champions League, and with time being so important, looks like anything around the 70 mark will be a very competitive score if clear. So we get certainly people were thinking it maybe 71, 72, but seems to be the suggestions definitely possible maybe to come up with some very quick times later on. World number 1 time, Kent Farrington and Myler, this 10-year-old exciting prospect. See what Kent can do. Being in such spectacular form and has so many good horses. And now to the combination. Makes light work of that, does the American. This looks a very decent prospect indeed, the 10-year-old. Oh. Just a little close, so brushes that front pole down. That'll annoy him. Oh, and then a second fence down. Maybe the inexperience just starting to tell here with Myler. 10 years, but good enough time, but those mistakes a little bit costly for Kent Farrington and Myler. 71.73. So next in Another of the strong group of riders we've got here in Madrid. Stellar lineup, and not only riding skill but horsepower. But Simon Delestre is on Dexter Fontensis, and this 12-year-old. And Dexter and Simon, world rank number 11. That's nice. Turn back there. Just the 2 clears so far. 2 of the first 3 went clear, but since then it's been much harder. Simon doing a good job on Dexter Fontensis, and coming now to the final fence, and that is a very respectable time, 68.75, and he made it look effortless. And that suggests that maybe we could be seeing some even quicker times when we come to the Global Champions League later on at the business end. But that was a very smooth, effortless round. The horse just eating up the ground, making with a minimum of effort. And that, look at there, just flicked that through, but only the faintest of touches. So an excellent exhibition there, and pleasing for Simon Delestre. Now Cian O'Connor is next up. Bentley Jasuri is his horse, the 14-year-old chestnut, and coming in, he's the world rank number 10, just to confirm that. Oh dear, 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 he won't be happy. Knocking that fence down. Something everyone feels exasperating over the first ones, because then you're just on a retrieving mission. Just hope you can keep it all together. Is keeping it all together at the moment. And the time's going to be fine. That is probably totally exasperating for Cian, having that first fence down, because after that was foot perfect. Never hinted at having anything down, but I think it was a look of a little anguish there on Cian that they got it wrong at that first fence. Just see what happened here. Just got a little close to it and didn't get high enough, and disappointing. Didn't get his front legs up in time. Now, next up we have Mariana Frocha-Chavez, the Brazilian rider on Obi-Van Klapschot, this 11-year-old bay gelding, coming in to begin his round. Oh, for the second successive round, the first fence has gone down. So she too has got to try and do a key and just keep it all together. Just experience. Doesn't get high enough there. You could see that coming just before. Didn't look as if it was going to get the height to get over that one, and brushed it down. That pole bounced in and out of the cups, stayed in the end. another fence down now, so... Oh, dear, dear, dear. Got that really stood off and cat-leapt it. And just charged into that and seemed to want to do rider and horse just not communicating quite as they would want. Now she's going back to it, but racking up the time faults now, and another fence down too. So quite a well. It didn't start quite as she liked with that first fence down. It was all right for a few fences, but then the wheels sadly came off. There's the first fence going down, just brushing that top front pole, and then the cat leap was really rather alarming to see, but all well, and she completes, so picking up a lot of time faults and fences down as well. All part of the learning game. Now, next up from France, another experienced rider, Olivier Perrault, coming in. GL Events Doré Dagu is his horse. And he's quickly into his stride. Longines fence is clattered. That's fence 3 now to the combination at 4. This is shaping up to be a very intriguing course. It's not straightforward. Mistakes seem to be occurring all over the place. And that's one fence that is catching a few out. And so is the double. And it's catching out Olivier. And 3 fences down. And time fine. So 12 faults it is. Olivier. The 3 clear rounds so far. Simon Deleuze, excellent 68.75. Another sub-70 score from the first rider in the individual phase, Emmanuel Chameleon and Philippe Rosier, also clear with 72.85. Only 2 rounds sub-70. Even amongst the 4 faults, but next up, Sana Tyson and Con Kidam, this 19-year-old stalwart to Sana, the Dutch rider. He does ride for Cannes starting. Keen hold, maybe 19, but he's certainly got something about him. Wily old fox coming to this our fence now because he kept with his turn back. All right. Very economical through that. Getting better and better. Can she keep the... Oh, the old boy just unfortunately got that one wrong. I don't know what she's having to work so hard. You can see that straining him and couldn't get the brakes on in time. And unfortunately from that final line of fences just caught her out and ends up with 3 down and 12 faults and into 13th spot here. But so hard work didn't make it easy for her. Now Zoe Conta was very good in the Global Championship. Just taking a look at where it went wrong for Sana. And that fence coming the final few fences. And brushing that, she looked back in disappointment, and that face tells the story. On next to the Belgian rider, Zoe Conter. It's La Una, 14-year-old bay mare. Who is on the way. Coming round. It's getting to about a handful of people have had trouble at that fence, and then the first part of the double seems to follow with a problem. Maybe close to picking up time faults, possibly. Should be all right. Indeed, is just all right. Inside the time by just over a second. So 8 faults there for our latest rider, the Belgian rider, Zoe Conter. So that's where that double was the problem. Now, next rider was really good earlier on this afternoon, but really Mitileno is now on her way on Lautista Toxandra. This 14-year-old bay gelding. Quite just high enough on that previous fence. Nice wide turn to that, and is safely popping it now to the double. Hind legs drag that down, so she's on 4. Two to go, final fence, time's fine, and not a bad round at all. Been a good afternoon actually for the lady from Greece, with 4 faults, very creditable, and one of the quicker 4 fault times. Currently lying in 5th, so he should be very pleased with that. And of course, for a good finish here, just that one fence down. Next up, again, another very experienced rider. It's Emmanuel Gaudiano. He's riding Julius D. He's on his way now, jumps the first fence, that Porsche fence, and then cuts back to this second fence, which is catching 1 or 2 out. Front pole's been quite kind to a few riders. Italian through 4, and this is 5. Slightly tighter turn, but no problems. Effortlessly through that. just frustration. Just proving a bit of a handful towards the end of the round for Emmanuel. Just 4 faults and a good time. So it puts him into the quickest of the 4 faulters with 72.46. So a decent enough performance, just that one blemish coming his way, as we've just got 4 more in this phase of the class before we get down to the serious business of the Global Champions League and finding out who's going to be crowned the team champions of Madrid. Will it be Shanghai Swans making it 3 wins on the bounce, which must be a rarity, I would have thought, to win 3 in a row. But it's a possibility. But the Belgian rider Niels Brunsels is next turn, riding Origi Vosberg, this 11-year-old gelding. Lovely early evening sunshine here in Madrid. Looking for just the 4th clear in this first group of riders. So far. Oh dear, dear, dear. Just came down a bit steep on that. And now 2 down. Final fence. And time's fine, but just towering a little bit at the end. But that's when you're jumping at 160, there's no let up. But 8 faults it is for Niels.
Yeah, those 2 back-to-back faces down in Madrid with Martin Riscal for 8 faults for Niels.
Andrés Jiménez, los que compiten a nivel individual, vamos con un francés que ha ganado grandes premios World Champions Tour en París y Monte Carlo, Kevin Stout, Montaguis.
Only finishers of all the FIA Jumping World Cup final of this spring. Kevin Stout, Kevin, world number 12.
Next up is Kevin Stowe, the Frenchman, world rank 12 on Queen's Baloo B, looking, as I say, to join his compatriot as one of the clear rounds on this 10-year-old gelding. Some of these poles have been very kind to the riders. Shortest turn into this fence. Striking looking horse this with a big white blaze down the middle. This course is, and just like Niels, back-to-back fences down towards the end, proving that there's no let up here. You can't. This is a proper demanding track that requires careful attention. So, 8 penalties. So, next up, we have another Frenchman, the other end of his career, but starting to make impressive moves, Antoine Herman, and he's riding Odin van de Hanegoor. Shanghai Swans been called into action today from the team's competition. He's had that second fence down, which has caught out the likes of Cian O'Connor. final part of the combination is sent packing. This 11-year-old, a wider turn to there, near the in-out gate. And that double's just proving reasonably tricky, particularly the first part. Oh, and there's another fence down, and it's all just slipping away from Antoine here. Five down, and I think he's just said enough's enough. Raising the hand just to confirm, just a little bit too much for the horse, so didn't want to put him through those final couple of fences. So for the Shanghai Swans, remember who, as I say, has been watching from the sidelines, but obviously with the power of their team, with Christian Aumann and Katharina Romberg, was going to be very hard to muscle his way into the lineup in the team competition. Final rider is from Spain in the first 25 before we get down to the nitty-gritty in the Global Champions League. It's Julio Arias Cueva on his 10-year-old bay gelding. And can we get a Spanish rider clear? Sadly not, but he was dicing with it with the first two parts. He gave the first two bits of the combination a clatter, but eventually his good fortune ended. Oh, and that's the second refusal we've seen there. Ducking out. It's a trappy little fence that. Prague 2025 fence. So it's going to be a costly round in terms of time faults, as we're about to head into point gathering territory as of now. Coming to the final fence, and it's going to, oh, and that down. So 25 faults it was for Julio Arias Cueva, but so we have a course that's going to require lots of precision jumping in the Global Champions League when that gets underway, resuming shortly, as just the 3 clear rounds out of the first 25, and it really is a proper test, this course set by Santiago Rella. He's a very shrewd course designer, and he's brought all his experience to bear here, and that there was no obvious place where people were getting into problems, and just so it's Simon Delestre who is one of 3 clear rounds with Emmanuel Camilli and Philippe Rosier. They were the 3 who went clear. Look at those times. It is possible to go quick. That could add an extra dimension to the second round of the Global Champions League, which will get underway shortly. And welcome to Madrid, the Spanish capital, which is host to round 4 of the Global Champions League here in Madrid. And the scene is set for what should be a spectacular second round after what was an enthralling and intriguing first round. But Madrid, such a spectacular location, and this venue too is right up there with the very best here in the heart of Madrid. And it's a lovely evening, balmy evening, a little bit of light cover, but 21 degrees centigrade. No one is complaining about that, and it should lend itself to a really good competition. There's looking at what's happened here before. Previous winners, Valkenswaard United, who are right in the hunt today, and Shanghai Swans have won in Madrid before. So those are the two that everybody is trying to chase down, because with Shanghai Swans dominating the overall ranking after the wins in the last 2 legs, with wins in Mexico and Shanghai, they went to the top of the tree, overtaking Cannes Stars. Then Valkenswaard United, well, if they win, then that could easily put them back at the top of the tree. So all to play for as we are in leg 4 of 15 in the Global Champions League. And as I say, it is set fair. And it really was a fascinating competition, and looking at what could happen now, as we see with Christian Allman, what a good round it was from him to set the tone on Durkan Hero, and also Katharina Romberg went clear as well on Calestas Cambridge. These two will be back in round 2, but on different horses, and they were very quick as well, and they will be looking to do something similar. We're just watching some of the other rounds that had a problem. This was Olivier Perrault from the New York Empire. It wasn't straightforward, that early course, so the New York Empire had gone well in Shanghai, but not so good here as they struggled. Michael Pender for New York Empire, well, he picked up 12 faults, but then some of the others who went really well, and wasn't desperately easy at times. And Abdel Said, it was a good round, but just not quite enough. He had the one fence down, Henrik von Eckermann. But I do think they're in a really good position, the Istanbul Warriors, because they will be going towards the end, but they picked up 4 faults. But if they can go double clear, and both those two riders have got great horses in this second round, Iliana and Bon Ami, they might put pressure on the others to make it very difficult. Nadja Peter Steiner was good too on Mila going clear. And in the Rome Gladiators, she won't be back in the next with that horse, but she's riding No Comment Decepton next time. And I have to say, it was a really good round from young Roy van Beek, who picked up 2 time faults, and he's back on the same horse in the next round. It really great to see a young rider being given a chance to show his talent on such a big stage as we have here in Madrid. Sophie Hinners, well, just the 4 for her in her round in the Cannes Stars, who have had a good start to the season with that early season win, but they've got to keep it going now. The current standings, that's how it looked after round 1, with Shanghai Swans and Valkenswaard United double clear. Rome Gladiators with those 2 time faults. The ones on 4 you think might be breathing down the neck of the leaders. Once you get to sort of 8 faults and penalties carrying forward, you are needing a lot of teams to have a difficult second round. So all to play for as we look at the course that Santiago has set here. It's, judging by what we've seen so far, it's not straightforward. There doesn't seem to be one area in particular that is going to be creating difficulties. So they start there, and then they go around to this second fence, which early on has caught a few out, just a few sloppy mistakes there at that Oxford. Going along to the next part, again, round, and then they come to this combination, which hasn't proved as influential as the combination in round one, but this comes slightly earlier. One or two have given it a bit of a rattle, but looking at it, quite high into the first upright, then you've got the second upright, and then through to the final part, the spread as well. So you've got to keep momentum going. 152 and a 160 spread, so you've got to have momentum throughout. Then cutting across to this another big spread to the upright, which just might catch a few out, and turning back, and then this turn by the in-out gate, which maybe surprisingly the top of it just brushed down, or you've just come in a bit tight, and that's where people may be looking to save a bit of time. It's high, but it's also, you need to be absolutely accurate, and if you're looking to find a quick bit of speed, it could be costly. Now this double spread to start, and then you come to the upright. Just a one stride. One or two people finding the first part costly in the initial riders. Then we come to the final part of the course. Big spread there, then turn back to another one, which maybe if your horse is starting to feel a little bit tired from all the efforts. 16 coming now down to 11, and finally 12, and then this again to the Liverpool at the end. 16 efforts, so it's not straightforward. You're going to have to keep momentum going, and if your horse is just feeling the heat of what our course designer has come up with, then it may be costly. Now let's take a look at the start list here. Remember, it's the team who did worst that begins in the first round, and here we have the riders Alexa Ferrer and Luis Felipe Azevedo. Then it will be Madrid in Motion, who just were very disappointing first time round, but Mikael van der Vleuten and Edouard Alvarez Aznar back again, different horses. New York Empire didn't go well for them. Mikey Pender had a few problems, but he's back on a different horse, and Dennis Lynch comes into the lineup here. Then we've got the Scandinavian Vikings with Johann Sebastian Gullikson and Jorge Matic Cabot-Villa. Then the Reisenberg International, Marco Kutscher and Christian Kuku were disappointing, but Checker is back out again. And then we go to Stockholm Hearts, and then the Prague Lions. They'll be looking, they did all right with just 8 faults between them, but again, they might just be starting to think they could put pressure. The Cannes Stars. Then ninth we have the Mexico Amigos with 8. Then next up, little break then, Saint-Tropez Pirates come through. Tom Watchman and Mariano Martinez Bastida will be next up. Now, team with 5, they got picked up a time fault at Yorna Spray, but she's on toys, and Jean Sadra is back again. She will be on Dexter de Kerglen. Then the Basel Cosmopolitans. Maybe an outside squeak here, really good from Jana August. She's on a different horse. Then I think you've got to respect what the Sambol Warriors are bringing to the table in this second round. Then it is the Doha Falcons with Julian Anquetin and Jerome Guerry. They won't be slow. Great to see the Rome Gladiators with Nadia Peter Steiner and Roy Van Beek in third. Now the first of the double clears, we have Hans-Dieter Dreher and Gilles Thomas, powerful looking. And finally, real powerhouse, Christian Ullmann and Katharina Romberg, who's really enjoying her time in the Global Champions League this year. She's on Kuma 5. This could be a thrilling conclusion, all to play for. But we start with the first of the teams to come in, the Paris Panthers, and Alexa Ferrer. Now, in the first 25, just had the 3 clears, so it's not an easy course. It will require sensible and precision jumping, and just trying to keep, just having a look there at the combination for Alexa. And the Paris Panthers, in terms of team, hasn't really been very easy for them. through the campaign. So can they improve? And the first rider on her way, riding this 10-year-old mare, Caitlin Reed-Hevink. So she's on her way. First of the teams now underway here in Madrid, and a lovely, balmy summer's evening. 21 faults as a team. First time round on a different horse, Alexa had 12 faults. The upright, oh, flicking out, drawing gasps from the crowd. Stays intact now to the double. That's good. At the time, that sort should be all right. Now coming down to the final fence, this is an excellent round there from Alexa Ferrer to go clear in a time of 72.49. Well, that is a wonderful effort from the Paris Panthers rider. Sadly for the Paris Panthers, they are propping up the league table, but if they get a double clear, then they could find themselves in a much healthier position and moving up the table. But that was as good as it gets from Alexa, and has certainly given encouragement, and maybe encouragement to one or two others, but and a pretty decent time as well, 72.49. We saw two sub-70s in the first, but now Luis Felipe Neto de Azevedo on Pandora Boy. Spanish dynasty of riders. Jumps that now to the upright. Oh, flicks it down. Just rolled it, another turn back. Double. Oh dear, the first part, which is causing one or two, that spread there, just the front pole is down on the ground. And that plank comes down to sending it to the ground, and so just, well, not quite what he wanted, but did go in the first round. They had 9 faults in the first round, and they've gone again, and this time it's a 12-fault round. So that leaves the Paris Panthers.
A very difficult afternoon for the Paris Panthers continues. It was going one way, and unfortunately it's continued in that fashion. Alexa Ferrer and Luis Felipe Neto de Azevedo both having some trouble. They finished on 33 overall. Madrid Emotion, the home team, Michael van der Vleuten, Eduardo Alvarez-Aznar. Trouble as well for them early on. It is not the position the home team wanted to find themselves in. If you want to see what's happening live from Madrid, sign up for that GCTV pass and come check out what's happening live from Madrid. This is GCL Round 2. Madrid Emotion next.